friends. Hello. Welcome. Dare I say it? It's real good to have you today. Because today, I am at peace. Simple as that, I'm at peace. I don't know if you've noticed, but in prior videos, I tend to have a sort of aura around me, right? It's an aura, it's made up sort of the scent of unclean dishes with dirty pizza on them. It's definitely not to my left. Anxiety about unfinished assignments, a sort of general depression, if you will. All that's gone. I am auraless. Because today, like I said, I'm at peace. Everything is aligned. My spirit's in check. Everything is clear. Everything feels right in the world. Now you're probably wondering, did you have a real good day today or something? And no. I had a girl think I was stealing from the store. I had a girl look at me like I shot her dog on the bus. I fell on the bus and hit my head. I was trying to stand up. I had a heavy bag of groceries. Like I kid you, like it was $100 worth of groceries. Like it was a lot of groceries. I stood up, lifted it up, and I thought the bus would stop a little bit slower since it was coming to a stop at a, bus stop. Like there is a good amount of time for it to stop. But I picked it up, and when it stopped hard. Of course, she pulled me down, and I just went. So not good, not good. You can't really see the mark, thankfully. It was sort of a padded plastic, but it still hurt, and it was still embarrassing. So no, the answer is I did not necessarily have a good day today. The Jazz won today, so that doesn't help either. The reason, my friends, I am at peace today is because... take a guess. I'll give you a sec. Take a guess. Let's just say the world is right. There's a certain terror that is gone from our world now. I just saw my hairline and I got self-conscious. It's growing back, okay? I took medication that ruined it. Yeah. But no. I'm at peace today because Nico Harrison is gone. He's gone. We did it. All the communal chants of fire Nico and fuck Nico. All the communal chants of we deserve better. All the bags over heads. The people unhappy about getting the first overall pick, you bastards. Enjoy it. It's coming from a Jazz fan, so you're okay. No, I'm teasing, but he's gone. We did it. We got one dictatorial moron out of his job. We just got to do one more. If you know who I'm referring to, let's be friends. And no, it's not Danny Ainge or Austin Ainge. They take a little bit lower priority than this guy, but he's gone. He's gone. And there's been a lot of joy surrounding that. And, I myself am at peace. So I'm wondering, is that fair? Is that fair? I aim to answer that question today. Is that fair? Should we feel joy over a man losing his job? Right? Losing his job, losing one's job it's a terrible thing. That's a rough thing, but sometimes it's earned. Let's get right in to see if it is. So right away, as his first action as I was reading up on Josai earlier. As Mavericks GM, guess who he signed? It's not a player. It's a criminal. It's objectively true. It's a guy who has a bad coaching history. It's a guy who sent a player along with innocent victims, but, that's criminal. We only care about the NBA. But sent a player to the hospital. I'm talking about Jason Kidd. Now you're probably thinking, oh, and what the hell? How did I never hear of this? I'd encourage you to either, one, Go read Miran Fader's book, Giannis, the Improbable Rise to MVP, or just go look up stories surrounding Jason Kidd and Larry Sanders. There's more than that, but if you want to hear about the player he sent to the hospital, that's the one. That's the one I'm thinking of. You know what? In honor of Nico, and the amount of times I have yelled, "Fire Nico!" Sorry, I spilled something. And the amount of times I've yelled, "Fire Nico!" and had my throat hurt because of it, I'm gonna go get a cough drop. Just in honor of that. It's not because my throat hurts. It's not because I've made bad decisions in my past. No. Don't be silly. It's in honor of Nico. And it's in honor, really, of all the fans who chanted, who screamed, who cried, who shouted to fire Nico. This, my friends, this honey original flavored Ricola cough drop, it's for you. Now, I streamed like 3 hours a night because I streamed the Jazz Pacers game, and there was a ridiculous amount of free throws, so that game took forever. But moving on from Jason Kidd and enjoying our victorious cough drop, we need to talk about what he did player-wise. Because, of course, Jason Kidd, still the head coach of the Dallas Mavericks, and still around. So we'll move on from that, but right away, we get a trade removing, or getting off of the team, a player maybe as controversial as Nico, Josh Richardson. Now, for those of you who do not know, Josh Richardson was like your dumb nerd's favorite player, right? Like Kevin O'Connor loved the guy. Also, Kevin O'Connor seems like a very sweet guy. That guy's a moron. I'll leave it at that. But he got traded to the Boston Celtics for Moses Brown, and Dallas received a trade exception. They didn't really use that trade exception for anything. But right away, okay, you get rid of a player who wasn't great on his time in Dallas, just to put that a little lightly. Shot 42% from the field. Where's his three-point percentage? 33% from three. 12 points, was on a pretty big contract. Had a defensive rating of, well, let's say defensive win share is a 0.2. A box plus minus a 0.6. And again, high-paid player. I heard people say this would bring the Mavs into finals contention. So, yeah, already, fine move. Getting rid of a guy who's not particularly good, fine. It's not like Moses Brown is good either, but you get that trade exception, fine. Signed Nate Hinton to a 2-way contract. If you know about Nate Hinton, you are a real one. That guy was a weirdo player, but a fun player. Signed Reggie Bullock to a multi-year contract. Reggie Bullock, I've heard he's actually a pretty nice guy. I feel like it was Reggie Bullock, in fact, who who finished, like, constructing an island, right? Yeah, he finished constructing an island. Also, yeah, Reggie Bullock is a very good guy. That's what I was thinking about. Did a lot of work for the LGBTQIA plus community. Went through a lot in his life, and yeah, no, just overall, good dude. Good dude. But Reggie Bullock had an interesting career. Was sort of touted as a 3-and-D player, but the defense wasn't always there. And the three-point shooting wasn't always there. Had a couple of really, really good years with Dallas, right? I mean, we can go look at his stats now. I say had an interesting contract. He played an average of like 10 minutes for the first little bit. But then, once he got to Dallas, shot 40, 38, 7 points, about a steal, pretty good. Got traded to Houston and then was done. When I was thinking of 2 years, I guess I was thinking of those 2 years. I didn't realize he played so long, but pretty good. Signed Tim Hardaway Jr. to a contract, and yeah, this is where I'm going to take the biggest issue. So obviously he Hardaway, he inherited Tim Hardaway Jr. He came away from that Knicks deal, which traded Tingus Pingus to, the Mavericks. Now, you don't necessarily need to re-sign a guy if he gets traded to you. And, I'll give Nico a little bit of credit, pay your guys. I think that's a good thing to do. The issue is, he signed a 4-year, $75 million contract. That's a lot. And let's just say that contract was not worth it. Tim Hardaway Jr. is sort of like the godfather of streaky players, maybe the modern godfather. The godfather of streaky players. He is the human embodiment of sometimes maybe good, but oftentimes maybe shit. And yeah, there were some games where it would be like, okay, you're on that contract. But most of the time it was like, what the hell is he doing making $75 million a year? Or not a year, sorry. Making $75 million. Pretty bad contract. Right away, kind of a mark against Nico. Signed Sterling Brown, signed Boban. Neither played it much, but Boban, friends with Luka. Sterling Brown, fine. Kind of a third stringer, fine. Signed Eugene Amoroy to a 2-way contract. Eugene, kind of an interesting player. Nothing really came of him during his time in the NBA, though. Signed EJ Onu, Ferron Hun, Carling Jones, Ja'Cory McLaughlin. Signed Frank Ntilikina to a multi-year contract. I believe what's so frustrating is there's next to nothing details-wise on this contract. I spent 5 minutes in my original recording before it died deciding whether or not I should continue looking for Frank Ntilikina's contract because I'd spent another 2 minutes before looking for it. So I said that weird, I know. Sometimes I'll say words, and then I just have to, try and recover because I said them sort of, just unconsciously. Ooh, my eyebrow's got a little bit of a lightning bolt to it. I know, there's a little bit of unibrow going here. I'll get it fixed, calm down. But, ultimately, reclamation project, small contract, whatever. If it was a huge contract, I guarantee you I would have seen it. I would have gotten reported. Signed Justin Jackson. You know what's so weird? Do you want to know how long Justin Jackson played? He played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And no, I did not do the 6, 7 thing intentionally. He played 8 years in the NBA. Insane. Signed Theo Pinson to a 10-day contract. Signed Marquise Chris, George King, Carly Jones, Brandon Knight, Charlie Brown, Isaiah Thomas, Theo Pinson, Marquise Chris. So, all of those were within... when were all these signings? August to... January. It's a lot. But, ultimately, Cocaine Nico, he had some good moves. I make that joke, it's unsubstantiated, but... You know. I was gonna make a JFK joke. I won't. But traded Kristaps Porzingis in a 2022 second round draft pick to the Washington Wizards for Davis Bertans, Spencer Dinwiddie, a 2022 second round draft pick. That was just saying that it was Dallas's own. So, you're probably thinking, not a great trade, and in some aspects you're right. Here's the thing, though. Kristaps Porzingis is such a weird player because during that time, he had an injury that was Well, this is it. This is it for Dingus. And he's had like 5 of those. Yeah, he had a torn... Oh no, that's... Sorry, that's a new injury. That was when he like messed up his foot. Okay, well that does not say his injury. Anyways, had an injury at the time. Was considered serious. It kind of ended up being serious. Like played, I think, on the Wizards for a little bit. Ended up being okay before, getting traded to the Celtics, and rest is history. But at the time, was a fine trade, and kind of still was. At the time, I didn't like the trade. 16, 15-year-old me? On the hour of screen time I had on my phone a day, I was just scrolling furiously through ESPN to try and find more details about this, but... yeah. Davis Bertans, not a great player by any means. This was an era when three-point shooters got paid. Joe Harris, Brent Forbes, Bertans, etc., etc., etc. Gary Bird, that's another one. Garrison Matthews, that's what I'm thinking of. I call him Gary Bird, doesn't matter. But no. This was a time when shooters got paid, and Davis Bertans is not an exception to that. I want to say he was making about 20 to 25 million, and he got thrown in this deal as filler. Dinwiddie, also not necessarily filler, kind of half the contracts for him, but Dinwiddie, seen as a much healthier player, had some pretty good moments for the Mavericks. I mean, was pretty pivotal for them in that conference finals run. And Davis Bertans was fine for them too, right? Like put any center next to Luka, or excuse me, any shooter, any center too to an extent, but any shooter next to Luka, and they're gonna look pretty good, right? Like in Dallas, he shot 36 and 39%. Not bad, like fine. So while this deal didn't necessarily end up going great, because, Porzingis ended up being healthier and recovered better than people thought, I don't necessarily critique him for this. Moses Wright to a two-way. Selected Wendell Moore in the 2022 NBA draft. Will be relevant in a second. This is one I sort of like. Traded 2 second-round picks for Jaden Hardy. I like Jaden Hardy. I liked him a lot. And second-round picks are sort of fake. They are sort of... I'm looking up to see. Oh, okay. Yeah. They are sort of fugazi. I heard that term today. I wanted to make sure I'm not like saying like a slur. They're sort of fugazi. I mean, 2 second-round picks for a player with some decent potential. A person who a lot of guys liked in Jaden Hardy. Fine. I'm not going to criticize that. Either way, it's 2 second-round picks. This is one I will criticize. Sterling Brown, Trey Burke, Marquise Chris, Boban Marjanovic, Wendell Moore to the Houston Rockets for Christian Wood Jr. Now, I'll tell you now, Wendell Moore was not particularly good. Played in the NBA for 3 years. Didn't get extended, didn't make it to his 4th. But it's still an end of first-round pick. Like, a late first-round pick still is going to have value. I mean, it's a first-round pick, for heaven's sakes. Like, you never know. But the other guys traded were not necessarily great players. I want this to say up there. We're not necessarily great players, but okay. Like, the only one that was really in the rotation consistently was probably Trey Burke. But even still, he was not in the rotation terribly consistently. But, I mean, that's a lot for Christian Wood. Now, you're probably thinking, Owen, I thought he was good on Dallas. Shot like 50%, shot well from 3. What went wrong? The issue is he refused to do any sort of dirty work, any sort of rebounding, any sort of defending. Could not pass. Refused to pass, honestly. Maybe he could, but just refused to pass because the best shots were his shots in his eyes. And kind of the rest is history. I mean, offense-wise was okay, but I mean, that's always kind of been the thing with Christian Wood. Like, why don't you play him more? He's good offensively. Meh. But, again, just to recap, Sterling Brown, Trey Burke, Marquise Chris, Boban Marjanovic, Wendell Moore, basically a late first-round pick for Christian Wood. That late first-round pick will come up again in a little bit. Theo Pinson, Jaden Hardy, JaVale McGee, Tyler Dorsey, Mohamed Gay, McKinley Wright, Tyler Hall. He has a bunch of signings. Again, cocaine Nico. Signed them all to multi-year contracts. So the JaVale McGee contract was objectively bad. Like, he signed, I think, a 3-year, $18 million deal, which $6 million does not seem like a lot, but JaVale McGee was well-watched at the time. And I believe that was right around the time when, what was it? I think was about what the taxpayer MLE was, so a lot for a wash center who did not really played like 10 minutes. We'll just go through a lot of these signings. It doesn't really matter. Signed Kemba Walker, signed Facundo Campazzo. This is one where I do have a little bit of a criticism for him. And look, this is revisionist history, but traded Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, a 2027 second-round draft pick, 2029 first-round draft pick, 2029 second-round draft pick, to the Nets for Irving and Markieff Morris. Right away, not a bad deal, right? Like, objectively good. You get Kyrie Irving for next to nothing. The thing is, Kyrie Irving was expiring. Kyrie Irving had just come off of some pretty not great things, we'll call it. You can do your own research on that. I don't necessarily want to get involved, but yeah. And that's not even the criticism I have for him. Like, this ended up being a very good trade. The criticism I have is that late first-round pick we mentioned, and ultimately, I don't know. Maybe spent Dorian Finney-Smith. Who is Dorian Finney-Smith? Why did I say that so confidently? Oh, I just merged Dorian Finney-Smith and Spencer Dinwiddie. Oh, well, that's probably why I said it so confident. But ultimately, like, if Dorian Finney-Smith... I'm so tired. If Dorian Finney-Smith was, like, the reason Nets did this trade, fine. But the question I have is, if you kept that first-round pick and did not trade it for Christian Wood, what happens? Could you theoretically have kept Dorian Finney-Smith? Could you have kept Spencer Dinwiddie? Could you have taken out some of those seconds? I mean, that 2029 first-round pick looks kind of decent. Obviously, they didn't know that at the time, that they would be, trading Luka. But, it's revisionist history, but could that first-round pick have saved you Dorian Finney-Smith and maybe given you another defender for kind of a deep playoff push? Like, they went to the finals this year, for heaven's sakes. Could have used a little bit more defense, right? Like, Jaylen Brown won Finals MVP off of wing scoring. What does Dorian Finney-Smith do well? Defend against wing scorers, right? Like, revisionist history, admittedly, but maybe that could have changed things a little bit. And look, again, I know that Wendell Moore Jr. did not end up being anything good, but, late first-round pick, maybe the Nets liked him. I don't know, just a thought. Signed Justin Holiday, selected Cason Wallace, but we'll get to that later. They obviously did not keep him. Kind of would be interesting if they did, though. Like, I would have liked that fit next to Luka. Traded Cash to the Kings for Richaun Holmes and Olivier Maxence Prosper. Traded Davis Bertans and Cason Wallace to the Oklahoma City Thunder for Derek Lively. Davis Bertans just got bought out, like, immediately. Like, I think it might have been, like, a pick later. It was announced he got bought out. But, no. So, they ended up with Derek Lively. That's who they wanted the whole time. That's sort of who they tanked for. Got a center. And, yeah, not not a bad move. Got lucky in the lottery. Led to them getting, in my opinion, starting quality center. While having Kyrie and Luka on the same team. Like, I don't mind it. I don't hate it. And no, this is like the 30th time I've refilled this. I'm not that Borgageese. This I do got to give him a little bit of credit for. Signed Kyrie Irving to a multi-year contract, especially after the tanking. People did not know if Kyrie would want to stay. I mean, the Nets traded him because he was just not a good culture guy, to put it in a specific way, we'll say. Not a good culture guy. Not a good fit for the locker room, and he was sort of the first piece to fall in that. Well, outside of Harden, sort of that first piece to fall in that Nets inevitable, or not inevitable, in the Nets downfall. I guess inevitable. Fine, every team has their downfall. All right, don't slander me too much. But signed Kyrie Irving to a multi-year contract, and it was a good deal. Like, it was a good deal. It was, I think, basically a max, which is Kyrie done. But, you know, getting Kyrie to sign when you didn't know if he was going to sign, he had threatened to retire, I think. Like, he was kind of an unhinged fuse at the time. Is that a thing? I don't know. Kind of an unhinged fuse at the time. We'll stick with it. And you got him to sign. Like, well done, Nico. Signed Derek Lively, Dwight Powell. So this is one that is not great. And this is one that's going to suck to talk about because it's going to be an absolute pain in my buttocks to go through. Okay. As part of a three-team trade, Dallas Mavericks traded Reggie Bullock and a 2030 first-round pick to the San Antonio Spurs. The Dallas Mavericks traded a 2025 second-round pick and a 2030 second-round pick to the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics traded Grant Williams to the Dallas Mavericks. The San Antonio Spurs traded a 2024 second-round draft pick, Adem Bona, to the Boston Celtics, which is funny. Celtics traded that and actually couldn't use Bona right now. And the Spurs traded a 2025 second-round pick, Chaz Lanier, and a 2028 second-round draft pick to the Dallas Mavericks. A 2030 first-round pick swap, 2030 first-round pick is a right to swap. 2025 second-round pick is Toronto's. Whatever. So basically, they traded a distant first for Grant Williams, and we see how that went. Grant, kind of interesting. In my eyes, this feels like Nico trying to make up for what was a relatively bad Christian Wood trade. I mean, he was still sort of young at the time and still sort of had a little bit of hype, but on Dallas, 37, I won't round up, I won't be generous, 37.375, 37.5, yeah, 37.5 is right, 37.5 from 3, 46 from the field, 10 points, 4 rebounds on 28 minutes a night. Kind of similar stats, just got a little bit more, well, not really. Dropped down to 41% and stayed about the same from 3. So not great. 2030 first round pick for a guy who played 2 years for you, and I'd kind of be surprised if he stays in the league after this contract is over. Not great. Like, not great. He did make a couple of good signings here. I'll give the bugger that. Signed Dante Exum, Seth Curry, Mike Miles. With the exception of Mike Miles, those are good signings. Mike Miles doesn't matter. Like, Dante Exum, been good for them. Seth Curry was good for them. Like, you got a shooter and defender, and Dante Exum played more in recent years. In fact, I think was injured during this year. But Seth Curry played well with Luka. Like, just a good player during the time. Signed Olivier Maxence Prosper. Fine. I mean, I guess he got him for cash. Whatever. That's fine. I won't criticize it. Signed Jordan Walker. Signed Derrick Jones Jr. That's a good trade. Or not a good, sorry, good trade. That's a good signing. Right? Like, he played a pivotal role on that Mavericks finals team. I think he was a starter, in fact, for that finals team, and played well. Does he have his flaws? Sure. But I mean, he played relatively well. Sorry, I'm sure my hair is so distracting. But he played relatively well. But no, he played relatively well for them. Sorry, I take a shot every time I say relatively well. And ended up being a good find for a player who the year before was playing 14 minutes a night. Went from 14 to 23 minutes to a finals berth and was starting for a decent chunk of time there. Like, that's a good signing. Signed Marquise Morris, whatever. Dexter Dennis, Greg Brown, Braden Williams to a 2-way contract. That's a good signing. He's a good player. He didn't really play much during that 2023 season, but he's a good player. These are two trades that I don't admittedly love. It's basically just salary dump after they already gave a first-round pick away. Let me read you the trade details. Traded Seth Curry, Grant Williams, and a 2027 first-round draft pick to the Charlotte Hornets for P.J. Washington. Oh, I forgot P.J. Washington was in there. My fault. It's still a little contract dumpy. Sorry. I should have read the full thing. My fault. Traded Seth Curry, Grant Williams, and a 2027 first-round pick to the Charlotte Hornets for P.J. Washington. 2024 second-round draft pick, Ariel Hogporty was later selected, and a 2028 second-round draft pick. Got a trade exception, didn't use it. Not a bad trade. It's not great giving up 2 first-round picks and Grant Williams deals, but you got P.J. Washington. Worse things can happen. That same day, this is the trade deadline. Traded Rashawn Holmes and a 2024 first-round draft pick. Dylan Jones was later selected to the Washington Wizards for Daniel Gafford. Pretty good. I had a little bit of interest in Dylan Jones. I don't know if he's an NBA player, but ultimately, Gafford's a better one. It started for them. He shouldn't have. Lively was, and continues to be better when healthy, but what do I know? Traded a 2028 first-round pick to the Oklahoma City Thunder for a 2024 first-round draft pick. Isaiah Collier was later selected. And then traded Ariel Hogporty, Petteri Koponen, and cash to the New York Knicks for Melvin Ajinça. This is one that is going to be a butthole to deal with. It's a 6-team trade. Should we just speed run this? Breathe with me. As a part of a 16 trade, the Dallas Mavericks traded a 2031 second-round draft pick to the Philadelphia 76ers. The Dallas Mavericks traded Josh Green to the Charlotte Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets traded a 2025 second-round draft pick. Johnny Broome was later selected to the Dallas Mavericks. The Charlotte Hornets traded cash to the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets traded Reggie Jackson, a 2029 second-round draft pick, and a 2020 second-round draft pick to the 2030 second-round draft pick to the Warriors. The Denver Nuggets traded a 2025 second-round draft pick. Alex Tukey was later selected to the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Golden State Warriors traded Klay Thompson to the Dallas Mavericks. The Golden State Warriors traded cash in a 2031 second-round draft pick to the Timberwolves. The Minnesota Timberwolves traded Kyle Anderson to the Golden State Warriors. And the Philadelphia 76ers traded Buddy Hield to the Golden State Warriors. Whew. Okay. Not great. I'll be honest. Not ideal. Did he give up much to get Klay? No. I thought Josh Green was okay. I kind of got proven wrong. I will take the L on that one. But he only gave up Josh Green and basically... I'm just reading through this again to make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah. Josh Green and a 2031 second-round draft pick. I think it was a sign-and trade, so just Warriors could get a little bit of value. The issue is, Klay Thompson's contract is currently rather large. Klay Thompson was relatively washed at the time, and he continues to be washed. He's bad. I liked Klay. He's done. He's cooked. His end time in on the Warriors sort of soured me on him, but theoretically this was an okay signing. A guy who could still shoot. Kind of about it, but this is another example, funny enough, of Nico taking on a guy with a pretty big contract who really can only shoot. $16 million is a lot for Clay. Next year he makes $17 million, and then after that he's an unrestricted free agent. I expect next year will be the last year we see of Clay. Now $16 million doesn't sound like a lot. You got to remember though, we are in an Abram era, and Klay Thompson also is benched and not that good. Like right now he is making 10% of the cap, near 11. So not a particularly good pickup for old Nico. Like I don't love it. Signed Brandon Williams to a 2-way contract. Oh no, I missed this. Sorry, there's more to that 16 trade nonsense. Traded Tim Hardaway, a 2025 second-round draft pick, a 2028 second-round draft pick, and a 2028 second-round draft pick. He had 2 2028 second-round draft picks, I guess, to the Detroit Pistons for Quentin Grimes. Dallas also received a 2025 second-round draft pick. And then, he traded Toronto's 2028 second-round draft pick, least favorable, and a 2028, I don't know, least favorable between who, but, and a 2028 second-round draft pick, that is Miami's. Okay. Good trade. I'll start with that. Good trade. We will get to why this doesn't matter. But a good trade, right? I traded Tim Hardaway Jr., a streaky player, for someone who was currently a borderline all-star starter. Like, good trade. Signed Brandon Williams to a 2-way. Signed Emmanuel Miller. Oh, sorry, I just got a weird YouTube notification. Signed Emmanuel Miller. Signed Spencer Dinwiddie. Back, funny enough. Spencer Dinwiddie, the second time around in Dallas, was not really as good. If I recall correctly, yeah. Last year, not a great year for him. 27 minutes, 41% from the field, 11 points, 4 assists, 1.3 turnovers, 33% from 3. Like, not great. Although, I don't think it was on a crazy deal. Yeah, it was a 1-year, $3 million deal. A little above what I think. No, that is a vet minimum. It's okay. It's not great. It's a roster spot when there were better guys available, but it's not the end of the world. Signed Kessler Edwards to a 2-way contract. Signed Markieff Morris again. Roster spot when there's better options. Markieff Morris, AJ Lawson, Jazzy and Gortman, and Kyler Kelly, all to 2-way contracts. 1 minute. I don't think we'll do another celebratory cough drop yet. Actually, yes, we will, because this is the big one. This is the mother load, all right? Sorry. I gotta get warmed up to talk about this. Oh wait, I'll get off camera for this. I got you. I won't. Sorry. Okay, we're good. Fuck. I knocked over my hair juice. This was not part of the bet. Okay, now we're back. He signed Moses Brown to a 10-day contract. All right. As a part of a 3-team trade, the Dallas Mavericks traded Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris to the Los Angeles Lakers. The LA Lakers traded Max Christie, Anthony Davis, and a 2029 first-round draft pick to the Dallas Mavericks. The LA Lakers traded Jalen Hood-Schifino and a 2025 second-round draft pick, Jean Tonge, was later selected to the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz traded cash in a 2025 second-round draft pick to the Mavericks, and the Utah Jazz traded cash to the Lakers. Not great. I'll tell you now, Nico, not great. All right. Maxi Kleber was a real NBA player. No, I'm kidding. Markieff Morris says, no, I'm kidding still. So obviously, this is an awful trade. In fact, I think one of my most viewed videos is my reaction to this trade. And yeah, to say the least, it was not positive. I think I said I didn't really like it for both teams. I sort of stand on that, but I mean, it's not... I definitely like it for one team a lot more than the other. I will tell you that now. It's still so insane to me that this happened. Like, what is the odds on Nico Harrison signing as like a consultant to the Lakers? I'd bet they're pretty high. That would be so funny if he came out and he's like, yes, I was a double agent for the Lakers. Ubafin. I worked at Nike. All right. Kobe is Nike. Kobe played for the Lakers. I have to help the Lakers. That was a conspiracy at the time that I thought was really funny. In fact, I think it was like Chris Vernon I heard say it, and I'm like, oh, interesting. Just because, like, that trade was so insane. And it still is, dude. Like, it's nuts. And ultimately, that alone should get you fired. You're fired. Anthony Davis. A good player. Don't get me wrong, a very good player. A great player, I'd even say. The issue is, he's 32 now. The image circulating is is not accurate, but he's certainly... Let's just say Michael Finley did not take away his beers. 30 minutes, 52%, 1.2 blocks, 2 turnovers, 2 assists, 1.6 steals, 10 rebounds. Like I said, 52%. Not great. Not particularly good. Only played 9 games in Dallas. Not great. What's funny is he played really well in LA before. In fact, was briefly an MVP contender. But yeah, no, not great. Not a good move, Nico. I know I'm the first one to say this, but I don't like that trade. I'm unhappy you did that. I was on the side of the people saying fire Nico for sending Kai Jones to a 2-way contract and then not actually converting him because he wasn't bad for you. But yeah, not a great deal, bro. I don't really have much to add to that. Like, everything that could be said about it has already been said, so... Yeah, I was sort of just pausing for dramatic effect, but I mean, what else can really be said? Traded Quentin Grimes and a 2025 second-round draft pick. Jonai Broom was later selected. I'm not high on him, but, I mean, he could be something. To the Philadelphia 76ers for Caleb Martin. Dallas also received a trade exception. Philadelphia also received a trade exception, and a 2025 second-round draft pick is more favorable. I think it was a pick swap, which, was more favorable, so they took. Yeah. Not great. Let's start with who they traded for. Caleb Martin. Caleb Martin, of course, left Miami on what at the time was considered a bit of a scam deal. He said no to Miami because he thought he could get more on the open market. Is the basketball reference page for Caleb Martin down? Or is just my Wi-Fi down? Or is basketball reference just as... No. I genuinely think the basketball reference page for Caleb Martin just might be down. Yeah, it's giving me a 5:04 gateway timeout. That's awesome. And like a gateway timeout, Caleb Martin was about as impactful as one. I left you angry and impacted what you wanted to do, but not really. And unlike a 5:04 gateway timeout, there are better options. Because Quentin Grimes, even though I cannot see Caleb Martin's stats, he was injured for most of last year, and he was not very good in Philadelphia anyways. But Caleb Martin's stats, last year, 21 points, 47% from the field, 37% from 3, 5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, 1.5 steals. A lot of that was in Mickey Mouse Marge. He was on the team on his own. Let's see how he's playing now. 17 points, 47% from the floor, or 3-point percentage, 40% from 3. I don't know, Nico. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, not a particularly good trade. Call me crazy. Signed Moses Brown to a 10-day contract. Signed Kai Jones to a 10-day two-way contract, and of course signed Cooper Flagg, the number 1 pick, 2-way contract. Now, if Cooper Flagg did not go to the Dallas Mavericks, if they fell, or even if they stayed where they were, Nico would already be gone. Nico got his ass saved, and the Mavericks got their ass saved because the draft lottery is likely rigged, but whatever, not a big deal. It doesn't affect me. There's no frozen letter business going on. What are you talking about, you goof? But yeah, not good. Signed Miles Kelly to a 2-way contract. Signed Ryan Nembhard. I actually like Ryan Nembhard. I think he can be okay. Will he be anything? Probably not, but I think he can be okay. Signed Kyrie Irving to a multi-year contract. I also made a video on this. In fact, I think it's one of my worst performing videos. But it's a big contract. It's a max contract. It at the time was a bad contract, and I still kind of think that. But time will tell. Maybe Kyrie comes back and is awesome. My guess is this will end up being a bad contract, likely because Kyrie's a small guard who relies on a lot of burst and athleticism. So not great. I don't know if this was taken into consideration, but not great. Signed D'Angelo Russell to a multi-year contract. Signed Deontay Exum. Signed Dennis Smith. Signed Moussa Cisse. So that's it. He was not a GM for a particularly long time, my friends. Now, this is usually the part when we come to a conviction. Is he guilty? Is he not? The firing squad? Like, what is it? What is it? But we have a little more information coming out. Apparently, Nico Harrison is just like a dick. A Dallas Mavericks employee was reportedly fired by general manager Nico Harrison while visiting his gravely ill mother. According to Tim McMahon of ESPN, Harrison fired Casey Smith, the Mavericks director of health and performance, while Smith was with his sick mother. Smith had a close relationship with Dallas legend Dirk Nowitzki and Luka Doncic. Harrison informed Smith that they needed to meet, McCann wrote. McMahon? I don't know. Smith replied that it wasn't possible to meet in person. He had gone to his hometown in Ohio to be at the site of his gravely ill mother in the final weeks of her life. Harrison set up a video conference instead. Smith was then informed that his services in Dallas were no longer needed, ending a nearly 2-decade-long tenure with the franchise. The reason for the dismissal centered on Smith being too negative, according to sources briefed on the discussion, who interpreted the vague reasoning to mean Smith wasn't enough of a yes man. Harrison traded Doncic to the that was just There's one other. I feel like Tim McMahon put something else out, but I'm just checking Tim McMahon's post real quick. This account doesn't exist. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Spencer Cox, the human embodiment of a cock, is, well, let's just say he's being one. So, Nico Harrison, not a nice guy. And then, of course, we got to go to the Jalen Brunson deals. So, reportedly, and again, reportedly, allegedly, grain of salt, right? The Mavericks had a deal for Jalen Brunson that was worth like $12 million, but the Mavericks pulled out. Mavericks decided to let him go to unrestricted free agency. Now, was there a little bit of collusion going on? Yes. The Knicks hired Rick Brunson, paid the guy a ton of money at the time, and, you know, I would not be surprised if there was some Kawhi Leonard stuff going on, but, yeah. I think this might have been a bit of a Cuban play. I don't have much evidence for it, other than the fact that Mark Cuban was very meddling and ultimately loved Luka and didn't really want anybody taking the place of Luka or even just shots away from Luka. So that would sort of be my guess as to what the cause of that was. But even if it wasn't, like, even if this is Nico, I get it. They hired his dad. What are you supposed to do? You go out and hire his mom. You go out and hire his cousin. You go out and hire his trainer. Was he at the level of Damian Lillard at this time? No. But during the Dame sweepstakes, Portland Trailblazers signed Damian Lillard's either friend or cousin, and he is probably the worst NBA player we've ever seen. Right? And I watch Cody Williams a lot. They signed, the Sixers signed his shot doctor, his shot trainer. I mean, way back in the day, like, they've done this for, like, this happens. You gotta counter it. Like, I'm sorry. There's no excuse, even if it is a contract thing, like, hey, we're not willing to pay it. Daryl Morey, and I think he's an okay GM, but I agree with him on this. Daryl Morey once said, a GM's job is simply to convince the owners to do certain actions. I agree with that. I do. If it's a contract thing, a good GM would convince him to do it. If it is a family thing, hire Rick Brunson back, give him more money, hire his mom, hire his sister, hire his brother. Fight for it. Don't just give him up freely. And now, would Jalen Brunson be Jalen Brunson if he were not on his own team? Probably not. Probably not. Were there unique factors in New York that made him probably a step above what he was? Yes, absolutely. But, you know, I gotta dock him for that. I do. I know, brave statement, but yeah. So, first of all, let me know what you think, but what corporate punishment should I give Nico? Here's the thing. I don't think any of them are extreme enough. Nico Harrison was an okay GM at times, but also traded a player just entering his prime. Mind you, he's not just like some role player entering his time. He's a top 3 player at, yeah, probably at worst, top 3, top 4 player entering his prime. He's also a player who does not rely on athleticism and had just sort of kept getting better. He traded that for Anthony Davis. Old Anthony Davis. And a 2029 first-round pick. That alone, to me, is firing squad. Quentin Grimes. That trade. Him ordering Michael Finley to take away Lucas beer. Firing squad, but the bullets are beer cans. Full beer cans. Firing that guy's sick mom. I want him to have a room full of, like, fart spray while that's going on, too. Right? Like, that's a shitty thing to do. That is. Like, that's a fucked up thing to do. So, you gotta sit with that shit while you're being pelted with beer cans. For trading for Christian Wood, I want you to be standing on, I want him to be standing on, like, a log rolling. Like, I have an office chair in front of me, and I want him to be doing the full woo woo, balancing on it. For not signing Jalen Brunson, I want you to have to keep a Bunsen burner lit the whole time. Yeah. That's actually pretty easy, but it's the only thing I could think of. For signing the wrong Mohamedou Gay, even though the other Mohamedou Gay was not in the league, you get to watch highlights of the other Mohamedou Gay. For signing JaVale McGee, you have to listen to the Shaqtin' a Fool theme song on repeat. So, just to recap what your punishment is, Nico, and I'm talking directly to you. A firing squad full of whatever beer, sparkling water, whatever it was that Luka was drinking. A firing squad with the bullets being that. You must sit in a room full of fart gas while this is going on. Yes, the guards will be provided face masks or, ventilators or whatever. You must be balancing on a cartoonish log of wood. We'll add alligators in there for fun. Log rolling with alligators. And you must keep a Bunsen burner lit while listening to Shaqtin' a Fool theme song on repeat while watching the other Mohammed Gay's highlights. Only fair. I, Judge Stevens, pronounce you. I can do better than that. Guilty. But, yeah. Nico, complicated history. Not a horrendous run-up to the Luka trade, but certainly not a good one either. But may that quiet-tempered jerk of a man, or quiet-mannered, not quiet-tempered per se, but may that quiet-mannered jerk of a man be happy in retirement. His Instagram currently says, I believe, I haven't fact-checked this, but girl dad unemployed. So, you millennial person, enjoy it. Enjoy it. I feel like my forehead looks extra big today. It's because my brain's too large, unlike Nico. Anyways, alright, I'll stop with the at-home, but I love you guys. Let me know what you think. Am I wrong? Am I crazy? I think Nico Harrison was an okay GM. I'd say a pretty good GM up to this point. We don't know all the factors on Brunson, but even with him, he did okay. Until the Luka trade. But yeah. I love you guys. Talk soon. Bye.